Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Wilton Report. I apologize. It's been a minute since we recorded and updated you as to the happenings in the Princeton and Greater Princeton markets. And it's funny, I've had people come into my open houses going, hey, you haven't done an episode. What's going on? So I apologize. I did get pretty sick, like everybody else, I think, in the state of New Jersey. That being said, let's go. Spring market's in full effect, and we have a lot to talk about. So again, I'm Josh Wilton, co-owner of Queenston Realty here in Princeton, and co-owner of Princeton Property Management Services, Princeton Home Connections, amongst others. Princeton Home Connections, if you are thinking about building an ADU, that is what that company specializes in developing ADUs in and around town. So Princeton Property Management obviously is for our landlord clientele who are watching this podcast. Please feel free to check us out. Couple things I always look at, right? So a big part of the picture and the confusion in the markets is inventory. So I've been tracking this on the podcast for a while, and I can tell you in June of 2024, on June 20th of 2024, there was 57 homes for sale in Princeton, 48% of the market, 47% of the market above 2 million. You can see how this dropped down. July, it was 47. September, it jumped up to 57 as the market goes into the fall overdrive. 58 in September, 52 in November, 47 now in March, which is low, people, like really, really low. So there's 47 homes for sale in Princeton, 48% of the market. That's as of the 14th. As of this morning, it's still only 48 homes for sale. Things are coming on. There is more statistically inventory, but more of it selling than ever. 48% of the market still is above $2 million. So it just goes to show you that the affordable price segments in Princeton are the ones under the most pressure. That being said, we've seen some big houses sell, some big price points. People are definitely looking for luxury items in town. New construction can sell in excess of $1,000 a square foot at this point. So we are still setting records for pricing through February of last year. 26 homes were listed in Princeton. Through February of this year, 37 homes were listed in Princeton. So we're seeing a little bit of an uptick in homes for sale. Nothing dramatic, definitely not enough to alleviate the supply issue we're having. But it is overall better news that a little bit more is coming on the market. We had an election. We've had, since we've last broadcast and met, at least on this podcast, the Dow has dropped pretty dramatically. It's gone up since I cut this slide last week. I think it's hovering in the vicinity of 41,000, though yesterday, Tuesday, the market took a dive. So the Dow gave back the Trump bump, and the NASDAQ gave up points. The Russell, everything on Wall Street is at least optically cratering. Markets are down, et cetera, et cetera. The tariffs, right, are looming, if not in place, in large part of the economy. We went from what we call a booming economy to a recession in like 20 days. How did that happen? I'm not going to get into the how and the why. I'll leave that for the economists and the politicians to dither over. What does this all mean for real estate locally in New Jersey and Princeton? Does it mean the sky is falling? Does it mean it's finally going to be a buyer's market? Does it mean I'm going to get a good deal on the house? And the answer, I will tell you, is unequivocally no. I did want to talk about federal employment because it's a big deal, because the current administration is going after the federal workforce. Again, I'm going to leave the politics out of it. So in 2024, federal hiring accounted for 18% of the new jobs created, which is statistically higher. That being said, the federal government accounts for 1% to 2% of the overall workforce. Our market segment is not reliant necessarily on federal work. It's reliant on federal money as far as some of the universities are concerned. But one of the things I see people talking about is that in 2025, the U.S. government has to refinance $9 trillion worth of debt. So that's something to watch, because the debt that we do have as a country is one of the things that is holding interest rates high. So maybe if that does get tackled in 2025, we may see a little pressure on rates to come down. I know the Fed is meeting somewhat soon to this podcast. That being said, interestingly, in light of all the federal funding cuts, the universities have imposed hiring freezes. I guess not to be unexpected at this point. I think Columbia lost $400 million in federal money. Obviously, I'm not getting into the politics of it. It is what it is. Princeton University, from what I understand, at least through the grapevine, has instituted a hiring freeze in light of all the uncertainty at the federal level and what's going on at the federal level. So again, Princeton University is a major factor in the real estate market. Professors buying homes, people moving in and out. So am I getting a deal? Am I going to pay under asking price? Is the market going to slow down? Zillow says, wow, we're going to downgrade the home prices nationally. So again, are they pointing to a slowdown locally? So Zillow says now, in light of everything going on, home prices will rise 0.8%. They were just about 2.5% before this happening nationally. So again, am I getting a deal? Is the market slowing down? Can I actually buy a house in Princeton? I will tell you, it's as busy as I've ever seen it, if not more ferociously competitive than last spring. And last spring was ferociously competitive. Unbelievable what's happening in the market, in the Princeton and greater Princeton market. If you want to know what's happening and you want a consultation, happy to sit down with you. Shoot me a text at 609-773-8054. We can sit down. I will go in detail as to what's happening in the market. I will show you case studies of what's happening with prices in individual neighbors and houses. But that being said, prices are going up. You're still going to see bids, multiple bids, pretty much everything. Anything under 1.6, from what I can tell, is lightning. Not even like, don't blink, because you're going to miss it. Does price still matter for sellers? Yes, price obviously always will matter for sellers. There's a couple houses that have come on well above where they should. It's not my business to say. And they're sitting. Why? Because they were overpriced. But if a house is priced right and it's in good shape, it will be multiple bids. And I'm telling you today, unless something dramatically changes in the next 7 months, prices in Princeton are going to continue to go up in 2025. So all the national news, all the information that you're seeing on a national level, please don't let it affect you on a local level if you're a buyer, because it's going to be competitive. And that being said, if you're a seller, please don't let the market gyrations affect you. It's still probably the single best time to sell. And I've said this every year for 4 to 5 years that I've ever seen, keeping in mind price and condition matter. So this is a great graphic. I got this from Lance Lambert at Resi Club Analytics. Absolute data head. If you don't follow him on what was formerly known as Twitter or LinkedIn, maybe for those of you who have banned themselves from X, which is fine. He's got great data. He's got great analytics. So when you look across the East Coast, right? New York, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Jersey, and Connecticut. This is inventory. What you're looking at on the screen is inventory. You do not need a PhD in math or economics to understand we are in a major supply issue. Major supply issue for a lot of different reasons. Again, I could go on as to why, NIMBYism has stopped building in New Jersey, because it has. But the reality is we are where we are. It is what it is. So I had a client said, well, isn't it going to change with everything happening nationally? I would say it's more prone to change in Florida, in Texas, and states where there's new construction than any of the states that you're looking at here. The only state on this map that has seen any level of inventory accumulation is Delaware. And even then, it went from 6,300, it's probably hovering about 2,300, so it's still 60% down. New Jersey is down by 2/3. Vermont, Rhode Island, Maine, New York, inclusive of New York City, is down dramatically. So when you look at the overall supply side picture for buyers, it's dire. For sellers, it continues to be great. There's more buyers than homes for sale. One of the things we are going to watch, obviously, very closely is the Fed decision on interest rates. Will it finally be enough to affect mortgage rates? Because the last 2 times the Fed cut rates, the mortgage rates went up. So we'll see if that plays into it in the near term. If the Fed does cut rates and interest rates go up, it's only going to interest rates go down, it's only going to exacerbate what you're looking at on the screen. So again, we are still in an undersupplied market with high demand. Fact, super high demand. If you don't believe me, go to an open house. As a matter of fact, I'll be at a new listing this weekend in Cranberry on North Main Street. Come by and check it out. Good luck finding a parking spot, but come by and check it out. Buyers may be more cautious, right? But the smart buyers are making insanely aggressive bids right out of the jump. So that being said, as rates come down, right? More people are going to jump in on the buy side. Price continues to matter, meaning you can't overprice your house and expect to sell it, right? I'm not going to get into the why. If you want to know why, you can hire us as your agent. But again, those are the big things that I will tell you. For buyers, you're in an undersupplied market with extremely high demand. Princeton, West Windsor, East Windsor, Cranberry, Montgomery, there's just not a lot for sale. I do think it's going to be a little bit of a late spring market. I mean, I think things will come on a little bit late this year as it did last year. But buyers are being aggressive, and sellers, don't overprice your house. Otherwise, you're going to sit despite the market conditions. Again, that's the quick update. I'm sorry it's been a minute since we broadcast last. I will do better to get an episode out at least every week through the spring. And again, if you have questions on the market, if you're looking to buy, sell, invest, build an ADU, rent your property, and never have to talk to your tenants again, shoot me a text. We can help with all of it. 609-773-8054. Thanks, everybody.